Okay, so hello everyone, welcome once again to Precalculus. For this discussion video, we have to learn about the parabola. A parabola is a collection of all points P and the plane that are the same distance from the fixed point F as they are from the fixed line D. The point F is called the focus of the parabola and the line D is its directrix. As a result, the parabola is a set of points P for which your distance to your focus is equals to your distance to your directrix. Okay, let's sort out this definition by looking at the graph. So for example, this one is your focus. And we have your directrix represented by this line. It is said that we have to take a line segment perpendicular to the directrix and intersect with the line segment from the focus of the same length. This will be a point in the parabola and will be the same distance from each. Therefore, we have to perform or to have a line segment joining our directrix and our focus. And we have to locate the midpoint or the center of this line segment. And this one is represented by this point. Same also if we have to locate a point which is equidistant from our directrix and our focus, we will find this point. And this point and also this point. If we have to join all these points, we would create a curve. If we take a symmetry or we perform symmetry on this type of curve, then we can get the other half of the curve, forming what we call a parabola. Based on this definition and using the distance formula, we can get the formula for the equation of a parabola with a vertex of at the origin and opens to the left or to the right. Take note that if we are considering the equation opening to the left or to the right, your y variable should be raised to the power of 2 or should be squared. A is the distance from the vertex to the focus or opposite way to the directrix. So if the coefficient of your x is positive, take note if the coefficient of x here is positive, then the parabola opens to the right. On the other hand, if the coefficient of the x is negative, the parabola opens to the left. As what we are saying, we have A here, which is the distance from the vertex to the focus. So this is your A. Same also with the distance, since we consider that it should be equal to the distance from the focus to the vertex and the vertex to the directrix. Therefore, this is also represented by A. And if we look at the given example here, so we could easily give the equation of a parabola. So we have to count or what we have to determine the value of a, wherein we will have 1, 2, 3. A is equal to 3. So substituting the value of a here, we have 4 times 3 is equal to x is equal multiplied by x I mean is equal to 12x. Therefore, the equation of the parabola is y squared is equal to 12x. And take note, we have positive 12 here because our parabola here is opening to the right. Okay, so if we look at it, the parabola opens to the right and the vertex is 3 units away from the focus. Let's find the focus. The directrix of the parabola given y squared is equals to negative 16x. We have y squared is equals to negative 4x. So take note that we have put negative here because our equation is negative. So therefore, we will have y squared is equals to negative 4a. So take note, this one is your 4a. So 4a is equal to negative 4a is equal to negative 16. In order for us to find the value of a, so we have to divide both sides by negative 4, giving us the value of a is equal to 4. Since the coefficient is negative, This parabola opens to the left. From the vertex, we have to count 4 units in the negative direction to get the focus. Okay, so this one, we know that we have y squared here, therefore our parabola should open to the left or to the right. Since our equation has negative sign here, therefore we know that our parabola is opening to the left. Then we have to determine now our focus. So we have to count a units. So since negative, we have to count 4 units to the left. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Therefore, our focus is situated or located here. So our focus is -4 and 0. So for the coordinate of our focus. So the directrix is the line located at the same distance from the vertex into the other direction. Therefore, we have to still count the same value, so 4 units to the right or outside of our parabola. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is still equal to a, therefore x is equal to 4. So this is representing our directrix. So we could make a line segment through the focus of the parabola parallel to the directrix with the endpoints on the parabola. So what we are saying is we could create a line here. This one or this line segment, we have to call this one as our latus rectum. So this one is our latus rectum. Okay, our LR. The length of the LR is 4A. So take note that always this distance from this passing through your focus up to the other end of the parabola is 4a. That is called your latus rectum. So with this one, since this is 4a, we know that this distance from your focus to the other end is 2a, and this is also 2a. This is very helpful information when graphing a parabola because we then know how wide the parabola is. Okay, considering that we have the equation y squared is equal to -16x, we know that this is your 4a. 16 is your 4a. Therefore, we know that your latus rectum is also 16. So it is 8 units each away from the focus. So we have 8 units away from this focus upward and 8 units from our focus downward. So if we have to count, this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Therefore, we will have -4, 8 upward, -4, and -8 is our coordinates, and these point downward. Take note, or if you could recall, that in your previous topics on algebra, you have already performed graphing. And this includes graphing of curves or graphing of parabolas that either open upward or open downward. The only difference with the equation is that x and y are in different places. So we have, for example, could have equation of a parabola x squared is equal to 4ay, x squared is equal to -4ay. So let's look at the steps to graph the parabola. Take note this time, the squared portion or the squared variable is x. Therefore, you have two values of x for one value of y. Therefore, we know that this parabola is either opening upward or opening downward. So take note, if x is squared, therefore your graph is opening vertically either upward or opening downward. What will determine the direction of your parabola? So again, what will determine is the sign of your coefficient here or the sign of your linear values here. So if it is negative, it is opening downward. If it is positive, it is opening upward. What direction does this open now? So we have x squared is equal to -4y. So if x is squared, it opens up or down, depending on the sign of the coefficient. If y is squared, it is opening to the right or to the left. I do hope you will not forget this one. So we have, so if x is squared, it opens up or downward. So, but it is depending on the sign of your coefficient. So since our coefficient is negative here, so we have to consider, so if the y here is squared, it opens to the right or left. If x is squared, it opens up or down. So since we have -4 here, therefore we have to expect that our graph is opening downward. So what is the value of a in our equation? X squared is equal to negative 4y. So therefore, we will have, so negative 4 is equal to, based on the equation, negative 4 is equal to negative 4 is equal to, this will be negative also, so that negative 4 is equal to negative 4a. So a is equal to 1. The focus is a units away from the vertex and the direction of kung sa diin nag-open ang ato nga parabola. So we will have this one. Since we know that our parabola is opening downward, we have to count a units. If ano man ang values ng imong a, you have to count a units in the direction of the opening of your parabola. So therefore, we have to count 1 unit downward. So this point is represented by 0, negative 1. Next, the question is, what is the length of our latus rectum? Based on the equation, we have x squared is equal to negative 4y. And we know that based on this equation, this will be x squared is equal to negative 4a. Negative 4a is equal to negative 4. Therefore, our latus rectum is equal to 4. 4a is equal to 4. So we have to make a line segments 4 units across this one, so we will have your latus rectum. So that means if our distance 4a is equal to 4, therefore our we have to, if we divide it by 2, 4 divided by 2 is equal to 2. Therefore we have 2 units from the focus to the left and 4 units to the right. We have 4 units here total, therefore this is 2 units to the left and 2 units to the right. So if we have to plot this one, this will be negative 2, negative 1. And this will be positive 2, negative 1. Then, we could easily graph our parabola. But, take note that if it is required in the equation for us to graph our directrix, then we have to perform graphing our directrix. But if it is not mentioned or if it is not required in these certain problems, then it is not necessary for us to graph the directrix. So if we have to add the directrix, so the directrix is 1 unit away from the vertex in the opposite direction. Since our A is equal to 1, therefore we have also to move 1 unit away from the vertex. Therefore we have y is equal to 1 as our directrix. Now we have to consider that our parabola may have horizontal or vertical transformation. This would translate the vertex from the origin to some other place. The equation for this parabola are same, but h is the horizontal shift and k is the vertical shift. So this one focuses on the types of parabola wherein our vertex is not centered at the origin. So if your parabola is not centered at the origin, we will have this equation. So we will have x minus a squared is equal to 4a times y minus k for this one. Or you will have negative 4a, or either y minus k squared is equal to 4a times x minus h, or your 4a is negative. So the vertex will be at h and k. So take note, this value will represent the vertex of your parabola. So we will have, so take note, x is squared and 4a is positive, therefore it opens upward. For this one, x is squared and your 4a is negative, therefore this is opening downward. For this one, y is squared, 4a is positive, this one opens to the right. And for this one, y is squared, 4a is negative, this one opens to the left. Okay, let's try this one. We are given y minus 2 squared is equal to 8 times x plus 1. So we are given this equation, so we know that by inspecting our equation here, we could see that y is squared and positive ang aton nga 8. So, y is squared, therefore we know kung di nag-open ang ating nga parabola. Kung di nag-open subong ang ating nga parabola, y minus 2 squared is equal to 8 times x plus 1. So, since y ang naka-squared, so therefore our parabola should open to, and it is positive, therefore it opens to the right. Next, in ang vertex ng ating parabola. So we have y minus 2 squared is equal to 8 times x plus 1. So we have to change the sign of your h and k. So kung negative, di siya himon mo siya positive. Kung positive, di siya himon mo siya negative. So start with the x kada perme. So hindi ta mag-consider kung anong una dere, but we have to consider kung ano ang upod sang x. Upod sang x is positive 1. Kung i-change sign ta siya, may mo siya negative 1. Kung i-change sign ta ang upod sang y, that will be positive 2. Therefore, ang aton nga vertex is changing the sign of this one, that will be negative 1. Changing the sign of sang upod sang y, that will be positive 2. Therefore, our vertex is at negative 1 and 2. So, graphing this one, we will have this point. Next, so what is the value of our focus, or where should be our focus be located? So we have y minus 2 squared is equal to 8 times x plus 1. So considering our 8 is our 4a, so 4a is equal to 8. So dividing both sides by 4, so that will be 8 divided by 4 is equal to 2. Our focus is 2 units away from the vertex and the direction where our parabola opens. So we know that our parabola is opening to the right. Therefore, we have to move 2 units away from the vertex to the right. So we have 1, 2. So therefore, this one is your focus. So we have 1, 2. So 2 units away from the vertex. So this one is 1, 2. Ang iyang coordinate. Next, what is the length of our latus rectum? Based on the equation, 8 is equal to 4a, therefore our latus rectum is also equal to 8. So if we know that our latus rectum is equal to 8, therefore we could conclude that we have 4 units upward and 4 units downward. So 4 units upward, 4 units downward from our focus. So we have to count 4 units upward and 4 units downward. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that is 1 and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, that is 1 and negative 2. And then, what is the directrix of our graph? So the directrix of our graph is the same units or A units. So kung pila ang values ng imo A, amo man na ang i-move nimo halin sa aton nga vertex. So we have to consider this one. So A units away from the vertex, or that is 2 units away from the vertex. Therefore, we have 1, 2. So we have this one. X is equals to 1, 2, negative 3. So x is equals to negative 3 for our vertex. Now, tracing the graph of our curve, this will be the graph of our parabola. Okay, so the secret to doing this is not to memorize a bunch of formulas nga probably ara dara sa inyong mga books or nga ara sa aton nga module, but we should be familiar kung paano natin i-graph ang aton nga parabola. What if we were given the focus of a parabola negative 2, 2 ang iyang coordinates, and the vertex is having the coordinate negative 5 and 2. If we draw the picture, we can figure out the equation and anything else we need to know. So take note, for this equation, ang given sa aton subong is the coordinates of your parabola and at the same time the coordinates of the vertex. So the coordinate of the focus and the coordinate of the vertex. So graphing the coordinates, that will be negative 2, 2 for your focus, negative 5, 2 for your vertex. So just looking at this much, we can determine which way the parabola opens. So since ari di ang aton nga focus, therefore, diri gaatuba ang aton nga parabola. This means that our parabola is opening to the right. So since ari di ang aton nga focus. Next, Balo kita nga this one is the general equation of our parabola. Why? Because kabalo kita nga diri ang aton focus, therefore aton parabola is opening to the right. If our parabola is opening to the right, based on the equation nga gin-present naton kagina, if naka-open siya sa right, aton equation nga gamiton is y minus k squared is equal to 4a times x minus h. Naka-squared ang y, then positive ang 4a kay opening to the right. So we have to find sang sini nga mga value. Ano ang value sa aton nga vertex? Value sa aton vertex based on the equation is negative 5, 2. So we have to substitute this sa aton nga equation. So we have, this one is x. So both silingon diri siya. Imo nga y is this one. So therefore, substitute diri siya. So we will have x minus negative 5 ag y minus 2 squared is equal to 4a times x minus negative 5. So we will have, so the focus is a units away from the vertex. So both silingon kinahanglan ta ni isipon. So that will be 1, 2, 3. That is 3 units. Therefore, imo nga a is equal to 3. So both silingon, kung i-substitute niya ang ato nga 3 sa aton equation, so substitute di siya. So we have y minus 2 squared is equals to 4a times x minus negative 5. Simplifying our equation, that will be y minus 2 squared is equal to 4 times 3 times x minus negative 5. So simplifying, we will have y minus 2 squared is equal to 12 times x plus 5. Okay, the equation we are given nga sa aton nga mga previous nga examples could not be or should not be always on the amo to nga form or ara siya sa standard form. So sometimes ang gina-provide sa aton sa books, sa quiz man na or even sa exams should kinahanglan naton mag-perform algebraic manipulation danay para mag-perform or para ma-convert siya naton into the standard form nga nabalaan naton using ni. So hindi always amo ni ang form sa aton nga equation. So yung gamitan na nga concept sa aton nga klase sa circles. And even sa aton klase sa locus of the moving point. So we have y squared plus 2y minus x is equals to 0. This one, for example, ang aton nga given. So we have y squared plus 2y minus x is equal to 0. Since y is squared, we have to complete the square on the y nga value. So we have, since kung ano di ang naka-squared, dara kita ma-perform sa completing the square. Therefore, kinanglan nato ni isolate, kinanglan nato ni separate ang aton y values with the x value. So we have y squared plus 2y is equal to x. So since we have to perform completing the square, we need to divide sa aton nga coefficient. 2 divided by 2, that is 1. Then we have to square that. So 2 divided by 2 is equal to 1. Squaring 1, that will be 1 Japon. So middle coefficient is divided by 2 and squared. So kung anong gin-add naton to the left side of the equation, kinahanglan naton i-add to the right side ng equation. Therefore, we have also to add 1 sa right side ng aton nga equation. And then we have to factor this one and simplify. So this one is y plus 1 squared is equal to x plus 1. Wherein, subong, pwede na natin mabalaan kung ano ang aton nga vertex sa aton nga equation. So, kung ano ang aton nga focus, kung ano ang aton nga directrix. Y plus 1 squared is equal to x plus 1. So, this one, take note, na 1 ang equation, hindi nag-open ang aton nga parabola. Okay? Naka-squared ang y, positive man ang aton nga equation. Therefore, aton nga parabola nag-open to the right. Next, ano ang vertex ng aton nga equation? Again, to find the vertex, kinahanglan i-change natin ang sign. Kung positive siya, himon siya negative. Kung negative siya, himon siya positive. Therefore, considering these values, so opposite sa sini nga mga value, that will be negative 1 and negative 1. Next, diin ang focus sa aton nga equation or sa aton nga parabola. Aton focus is a units away from the vertex. So we have to consider, so butangan ko di 1 kay para hindi ka mo magkalang. Therefore, 1 na di ang value kay wala may nakabutang diri nga number. So we have 1. So therefore, aton nga 4a is equal to 1. So aton nga a is equal to 1/4. So aton nga a is equal to 1/4. So therefore, we have to move 1/4 units away from our vertex pakadto sa right. So pakadto sa right ang aton opening, so we have to count 1/4 units away from it. So this one is 1/4. So if we have to graph, this will be -3/4 and -1. Ano subong ang length sang aton latus rectum? Based on the equation, 4a is equal to 1. So therefore, aton 4a or ang aton nga latus rectum is also equal to 1. So buot siningon, kung mag-graph kita, kinanglan naton mag-move 1/2 units to the upward kag downward. So this one is our latus rectum. Kung iplata siya, so we will have this one. So -3/4, -1/2, kag -3/4, -3/2. So amo na siya ang aton nga. So nag-move kita dari 1/2 pa saka, 1/2 pa now. Kaya ang natabo diha, so same man ni Japan ang imo point, -3/4 para sa x, pero sa imo nga y, ma-change siya sa imo nga value upward kag downward. So, -1, buhinantas ang 1/2, that will be -1/2. -1, tugangan sang 1/2, that will be -3/2. Diin subong ang aton nga directrix. Take note atong directrix diri pagwa kita sa aton nga graph sang aton nga parabola pakadto didto. So bot silingon ang aton nga vertex, which is this one, or -1, -1, dugangan ta lang value. So -1 dugangan ta sang aton nga a nga 1/4, -1 plus 1/4, or negative or 1 plus 1/4, that will be 1/4 away from the vertex, which is represented by -5/4. So we will have the graph of the parabola represented by this curve. Okay. So this is it para sa ating nga discussion on the parabola nga topic. So watch out for the next video on the ellipse. So this is it for now. Thank you. Stay safe. God bless.